Never has the topic of vaccination of our residents been more important in our lifetime than right now. And we have a remarkable set of medical providers and public health officials across our county who are working tirelessly to ensure that all of us remain safe. In the audience today, we have Dr. Travis Gales, who is our our chief public health officer and county health officer within the Department of Health and Human Services. We have Dr. Raymond Crowell, the director of the Department of Health and Human Services. We also have Ms. Cindy Edwards, who is the Public Health Services Administrator for Communicable Disease and Epidemiology. We also have in the audience Dr. Annette Pham, the president of the Montgomery County Medical Society, a critical partner to the county, not just through the pandemic, but before and certainly after it. And we also have Dr. Brent Berger, who chairs the Medical Society's Immunization Task Force and serves on our Commission on Health. So as chair of the county's Health and Human Services Committee, I know that I speak on behalf of all of my colleagues here. We've learned so much about our community's critical public health needs during this COVID crisis. We now have to talk about and the importance of our flu vaccinations now more than ever. Fortunately, this hasn't been a typical or overwhelming flu season, but we know the flu is deadly, and we know the flu can spread quickly through our entire community. Our kids right now, of course, are not in school. We're all wearing masks, hopefully, and social distancing. But this has reinforced what sometimes we take for granted, which is the importance of washing our hands and taking those preventative steps to prevent us from getting the flu in the first place. But we know, again, that the flu is a contagious disease. We know that the flu vaccination prevents millions of illnesses and flu-related visits to the doctor. And we know that it can be dangerous with complications for those over the age of 65, for pregnant women, and people with certain underlying health conditions, as we have seen with the virus. And so I believe all of my colleagues have already gotten their flu vaccination this year, and we urge all of our county residents, if you have not yet done so, to please get yours. We will now hear from Dr. Travis Gales, who will speak on behalf of our medical community and our public health officials across the county, and then I will read a proclamation. Dr. Gales.
Good morning, and always a pleasure to be with you all, and thank you for this important recognition of a key public health campaign and a key need for our community. And would also like to say a special thank you to the staff from Public Health Services and HHS, who not many people knew about our immunization team before COVID, but they have been up and running for many years providing the service. And thank you also to Dr. Pham and Dr. Berger from the Medical Society for partnering with us in these efforts to increase vaccination rates across the county and increase vaccination through different medical suppliers. As Councilmember Albornoz pointed out, it's a very critical time related to vaccination on multiple levels. The first level related to the flu vaccine. It's important that we get everybody to be covered because, as he referenced, the flu can cause a lot of damage. And in certain groups, it can increase the likelihood of the need of hospitalization due to the symptoms they experience. And if you haven't heard, we're going through a pandemic right now where hospital space is a priority. And by increasing our vaccination rates, we can increase the amount of folks that are protected and hopefully thereby decrease the impact of the flu, which would ultimately free up necessary space that we may need to address the pandemic that we're facing right now. It's also important to remind folks that vaccination is a fundamental underpinning of the public health infrastructure within our country. Vaccines provide significant protection from a host of diseases and prevent a whole host of symptoms, preventable illnesses that will add protection to our society. So we applaud this proclamation, and we want to remind folks at home, if you have not received your flu shot, get it and gets you extra protection. To parents of children who are behind on their immunizations, get them caught up as soon as possible. And as we continue to move forward with the release of the COVID vaccine, we also hope to be able to proactively address any questions, concerns, or issues that our residents face as they decide to make the decision to ultimately, hopefully, get the vaccine once it's available. Thank you again for the recognition, and thank you to all of the tireless staff who work to make this possible throughout the county.
Well, that was beautifully said, Dr. Gales, and I want to once again thank the Montgomery Medical Society and all of our partner organizations for helping to keep Montgomery County safe. I will now read this proclamation on behalf of all of my colleagues. Whereas in 2005, the Centers for Disease Control and Prevention established National Influenza Vaccination Week to raise awareness about the importance of the influenza vaccination and how it protects the public health of our community, particularly during the winter months. And whereas influenza is a contagious and at times deadly disease that is commonly transmitted and serves as great risk for health complications to infants, young children, people 65 years of age and older, pregnant women, and those with certain health conditions or weakened immune system. And whereas everyone 6 months of age and older should be vaccinated annually, particularly this year, as the COVID-19 global pandemic currently coincides with flu vaccine and may fatally impact county residents while overburdening our healthcare resources. And whereas the influenza vaccine prevents millions of illnesses, associated hospitalizations, flu-related doctor visits, and associated deaths each year, and has by far the highest rates of mortality among vaccine-preventable diseases in the United States. Now, therefore, be it resolved that the Montgomery County Council hereby recognizes National Influenza Vaccination Week 2020, and be it further resolved that the County Council calls upon its residents to receive their influenza vaccine this year in order to keep our community safe and healthy during this winter season and the global pandemic. Presented on this 8th day of December in the year 2020, signed by myself and Council President Hucker. An important message, an important week. Thank you all again for your dedication.